Hey guys, Max here with another Valheim Ashlands video. This is going to be a detailed guide on the final boss for the Ashland biome, okay? We're going to go over all the weapon testing, the different armors and how much damage we take with them, all the boss mechanics, tips and tricks, basically everything, right? It took me an entire day to record and test this video, so it is very large. So there's going to be timestamps because not everybody's interested in the same thing. But I wanted to make one complete guide so that you could bookmark this, and then when you finally get to the boss in Ashlands, you can reference back to this if you're having trouble, and you'll have all the information you need. Because this video took me an entire day to test and record, I would appreciate it so much if you would consider leaving a like on the video and subscribing to the channel if you feel like I deserve it. I'll also put a link to the Discord down below if you care to join the community and talk about Valheim and other games. And I'll also put a link to the Twitch channel down below if you care to go over there and give us a follow and join in on the streams from time to time. And then lastly, in the description box, I will put kind of like a change log or an update log. There is a lot of information in this video, so it's possible that maybe I missed something, or if somebody mentions in the comment section down below that something's changed, then we'll just update that in the description box down below so we have accurate information as we move into Ashlands. So let's go over the parameters of this test, okay? First, I've set the time to be the middle of the day, and I've cleared the environment, okay? Now, the reason I'm doing that is so it's a little bit easier to see the numbers on the screen from all the different weapons that we use, and to see the particle effects from the spells that the boss uses, and also kind of like his movement for his animation and things like that, so you can kind of see what's coming. It's not going to be this pretty when you fight the boss. When you go out there, it could be nighttime, you're going to have an ash or a firestorm in your face, right? So just keep that in mind. We're only clearing the environment so that we can showcase the abilities a little better. Next, we're going to talk about the skills. I've set them all to 70. I figured that was a nice average round number. Maybe you have a little bit more, maybe you have a little bit less. But whenever you see numbers pop up on the screen from the staves and the maces and the bows and things like that, just know that for this test, the skills are set to 70. As far as the armor goes, across the board for melee, archer, and caster, the highest rank you can get is 3. Same with the cloaks. I did the ashen cloak for the melee because most of the time they're going to be using a shield unless they're using the two-handed axes or the sword. And then as far as the color of the weapon for melee and the bows, it's going to be your decision, depending on your playstyle, which color you use, right? Maybe you want to live on the dangerous side and lower your health a bunch to take advantage of the red weapon. Maybe you just want to go for the direct damage proc with lightning, or maybe you want to use green to help root the ads or something like that. It just depends. But they all stop at level 2. You can't upgrade them past level 2 for the bows and the melee weapons, so that's what we're going to be testing for those. Same here with the bows, like I said, level 2. They're going to have the Askfin cloak for the archer test, and then they're going to have the Ask set. You can use the Ask set for the melee as well if you want to live on the dangerous side with a little bit less armor and just go for the run, jump, and attack stamina usage percentage decreases. And then just a bunch of bullets. And then for the casters, their staves will go up to rank 3 in Ashlands, which is pretty nice. And then we've got the rank 4 staffs from Mistlands. And then as for consumables, I've got all of the regeneration for health, stamina, and ether. But I also have the instant ones, like give me my health now, give me my stamina now kind of thing. So we have those as well, just in case we get super low, we need the health immediately kind of thing. I got poison resist mead and the fire resist mead. You can use both at the same time, and I believe he does both types of damage. And then just a bunch of bells to summon the boss. And then lastly, the food. So I have the 3 best health food, the 2 best stamina foods, and the 2 best ether foods. And you can kind of mix and match this depending on your playstyle again. Maybe the ether wants to have the best health food and then 2 best ether, or maybe they want to live on the dangerous side and just go 2 ether, 1 stamina kind of thing. And then as far as the belt, do not wear the strength belt. I'm going to say this again. Do not wear the strength belt when you fight this boss. And here's the reason why. Because if you die on this boss, which you're probably going to die, when you go back to your corpse and pick it up and it has auto loot, if you pick up all the random rocks and stuff from the buildings that are falling over, you're going to have far too much weight when you loot your corpse before you put that belt back on, right? So just leave the belt off so that your weight will stop just below 300 when you're picking up random wood and rocks, so that when you go back to your corpse after a death, it picks it all up for you immediately instead of having to mess with it and put the belt on and then go back and loot the rest. Do not put the belt on, okay? And then lastly, as far as skills, you might be able to see it over my shoulder. I've got bone mass. You can use the stag world buff if you want for a little bit better stamina usage while you're running kind of thing. And then maybe the casters want to kind of look at the queen buff. I believe that gives ether regen. But again, depending on your playstyle, choose which buff you want. So that about covers the parameters of. Next, we're going to go into the different types of damage that we see for all of the weapons. And then when we're finished with that, we're going to take a look at the boss's mechanics. Okay, so when you get to the arena, there's going to be 3 bell holders that surround the area right here. And you're basically just going to stick a bell in each one, just like this. And then after you do that, you're going to talk to the little pillar area here in the middle, and that will summon the boss. Now, before you do that, make sure that you're obviously, buffed up with your stats and things like that, and you got everything you need. But you also need to clear the area of the monsters. I doubt you want to fight the boss while there's a couple Morgans rolling around. So clear it all out, and then hit the centerpiece, and then the boss will come down. All right, so we spawned the boss, and the first thing we're going to test is him landing, and I want to see how much damage that does. If you want to avoid where he lands, I would say probably stand in the middle, but we're going to check how much damage this landing does on us, where you don't have any resist rolling or anything like that. So he would have killed me. So lesson number 1, do not stand where he lands or else you're just going to get one shot. So let's start off with the spears. We're going to start off with the Splitner, which is pierce damage. Let's go with the green one first. 60, 50, 50, 60, maybe up to 70 kind of deal. The poison tick's doing about 2.5, not much there. The lightning version of the spear is 60. He's also strong against pierce again. 75 damage on the lightning proc, and then for the blood one we have full health. So this is, unless you're living on the dangerous side, but it's strong against pierce as well. So the spear doesn't look very good. Next up we have the mace, the Colossin, the Storm Star, and the bludgeon. And we'll start with the green one. Looks like about 103, 121 on like a regular swing, up to 200 at the top end on that third swing there. The damage on the poison tick's about 3.5. I feel like he's strong against poison. Let's try the lightning. About 100 to 120. About 230 on that third swing, 240 on that third swing. Yeah. And the lightning damage is still 75. And then the blood weapon. Yeah, 100, 120 on the normal swing, 220 on the third. So yeah, it's only going to be good unless you lower your health. But so the staff, or excuse me, the mace is pretty good. It's not strong or it's not weak or anything like that. Just a middle ground weapon there. Next on the list is the Slayer two-handed sword and all of its variations, green, blue, and red. We're going to start with the green. Looks like 150, 160 on the first two. 275, 270 on that third swing. Yeah. And the poison damage, again, between 2 and 4. I'm pretty sure he's strong against poison. And then the lightning. Let's get a little more stamina here. Lightning. Up to 300 on that third swing. First swing is about 130, 140. 300 again. And the first swing was around like 140, yeah. 170. And then let's try the blood one. 150, 160. I get a third swing in there. Yeah, 255 on the third swing. 250, 258. Yeah, there you go for the blood weapon. Cool. All right, so next up we're going to talk about the Beserker Axes, and we're going to go through the different variations with them, starting off with the green one. Let's see. 130, 110, 118 on the lower end, 230 to 260 on the top end. Man, if you can plant your feet with the two-handed axes, you can drill them. These things are actually pretty good. Let's check out lightning. 110, 140, 130 on the low end, 210, 230 on the top end. Not bad. And then for the blood, 110, 130 on the low end, 200 on the top end. Yeah. So it just, you know, you got to lower your health to get that better. But yeah, the two-handed axes seem pretty solid as long as you can stay alive and actually like plant your feet and dig into them. So pretty good weapon there. And the last melee weapon that we're going to take a look at is the swords, the Nidhogg. We're going to take a look at all three variants and then also the fire sword as well. We'll start off with the green. 110 on the low end, 120. Top end is about 200, 240. Check out lightning. 140, 120 on the low end, top end 200, 250 on the top end there, 290. Yeah, not bad. The lightning's pretty good. Yeah, so swords so far seem pretty nice. 120, 215 on the top, 130, 125 on the bottom. Get a little more stamina here. Get a few more licks in. Yeah, 260 on the top, 120 on the bottom. Yeah. So yeah, swords are pretty good. And then let's check out the fire sword, which I'm sure everyone's wondering. Get a little bit of stamina so we can dig into them. 115, 120 on the low, 270 on the top, 280 on the top, 140 on the low, 130, 110. Yeah. So yeah, the swords look pretty good as well. So I would definitely give them a shot if you're into those. Next, we're going to transform into an archer, and we're going to take a look at the Ashwood bow and its variants, and the Ripper. And then I'm using the Askvin cloak, and then the Ask set for all the different stamina usage reductions, but mostly for that 10% pierce, because these two items primarily are based off pierce. I guess I could have used this for the spear one, but let's be honest, that weapon sucked. So let's start off with the green green Ashwood bow. That was 75, 76. He is strong against the pierce, obviously. The dot's about 2.5. Oof, not very good. Let's try the lightning one, see how this goes. 77, 78, 90. Yeah, 83. Not looking hot there. And then as far as the red bow, 72, 70, 73. Yeah, so the bows aren't very good at all. You know, they're there to get some chip damage in, but if you're going straight for archer, get ready for a long haul fight. Next, we have the Ripper and all of its variants, the green, the blue, and the red. These take a little while to charge, so maybe they might be good while you're running around. 115, 155, 145. Let's get one more shot in. We'll do 4 each. 121, so that's the green bow. Then here's the Storm Ripper, the blue one. 131 with a 75 proc. 138. 156. 156. Yeah, I feel like this might be a little better than the regular bow. I don't know, as long as you can hit the shot. Red bow is 156 again. 118. 138. 145. Yeah. So that's the crossbows there. I feel like they might be a little bit better than the other bow, although if you can get the shots off quicker with that one, then maybe it evens out. But as far as the range attacks for the bows, it doesn't look very hot. He is definitely strong against pierce. The next part of this video is magical indeed. I know you guys have been burning to see this part, and it's going to be chilling to see what kind of damage we can do while we are out in the wild. Next, we're going to take a look at the caster weapons, and I'm using the Embla set, and it gives basically the regen for the ether. And then I've got this ether potion running. And first, we're going to showcase all of the Mistlin weapons. We're going to start with the Staff of Embers, move into the Staff of Frost. Then we're going to raise some dead creatures and see how they do. And then we're going to use the Staff of Protection and see how well that holds up against some of his attacks. All right, so let's start off with the level 4 Staff of Embers. See how this does. 100, 83, 109, 93. He's strong against it. Yeah. 115, 96, 104. So Yeah, that's the Staff of Embers, about 100 damage. Next up is the Staff of Frost level 4. See how this does. Got mid-20s to lower 30s. Yeah, this is pretty good, actually. He's not strong or weak against it, but I think this might be a little better than the Staff of Embers. So, yeah, keep an eye on the Staff of Frost. Next, we'll test out the Dead Razor. I doubt this is going to be any good, but we'll give it a shot. Costs health to cast. See how these do. Okay, they just got one shot. So yeah, Dead Razor Staff, no thanks. Next, we're going to check out the Staff of Protection, see if we can get a nice little melee swing on this guy. Hello. Okay, so it instantly broke the orb on his spin. All right, the bite broke the orb, and I took about another 10 damage. And his melee swing broke the orb as well, and I still took about 10 damage. So yeah, it'll protect you against a couple hits from the meteors, and it'll eat one claw swipe and maybe one mouth bite, but you know, it doesn't last pretty much longer than that. Next, let's get into the Ashland staffs. We'll check out the Staff of Fracturing first. See how this does. 8.3, 10.7, 9.9, 10.7. I think there's about 12 hits per, so you're probably looking at about 100 to 140 damage. He's definitely strong against it, though, so I don't know if this is the staff that you want to use. Next, we'll give the Staff of the Wild a shot and see how this does. It's blunt and poison. So the Mist does about 7 per tick. And the vines, see if I can land to get him to come over here. 162, 160, 160. Oh, he would have killed me there. Yeah, they're not bad. 160, 162. He doesn't target them, so you kind of have to like drag him into them, but they're okay. Yeah, about 150, 162. Yeah, Staff of the Wild isn't too bad. Let's move on to the Dundr Staff. This is kind of like the shotgun staff that does lightning damage. See how this does. 19, 17.8, 24.7, 23.8. This kind of is like the fracturing staff, but just he's not strong against it, right? And it takes a second to load, but if you're constantly moving, the catch with this is you got to get a little close, right? And as a caster with low health, yeah, it's a little dangerous. So that's the Dundr Staff there. And the last staff we're going to take a look at is the Trollstav, okay? And this spawns the 2 trolls with the giant sticks. I bet you this does no damage if he's immune to fire, yeah. Oh, got him on top of it. What's up, man? There we go. All right, cool. Let's see what these hit for. He's not even hitting him. 126, 160 melee damage, 140, 165, mid 100s. He doesn't even swing at him, though. He's just ignoring them. See what happens when I land on the ground. Yeah, like he's shooting me and not them. Okay, so the casters beware. He does not, he doesn't even look at them. Yeah, he's trying to push his way through them. Yeah. And then if I fly up again and I make myself gone, he just stands there. 170, yeah. So be careful with these things. They're kind of like a pet that kind of just chases them around as long as you don't get too close and they start to chase you. But he just completely ignores them. But they do about 150 in the middle, 160 kind of thing. So just keep that in mind. So that wraps up all of the weapon testing. Now we are going to talk about the mechanics of this boss. And it's kind of like a two-phase fight. In the second phase, he just gains more abilities. And that usually happens around 75% or so. But the first phase, when he lands, he'll have 4 different abilities. A swipe, a bite, a spin attack, and then he can call down meteors. And we're going to talk about each of those and how to identify when those are coming and a little bit of how to deal with them. So when you see the boss's eyes glow, it means an attack is coming. It could be a bite just like that, or he could be swiping his claw just like that. So keep an eye out for his eyes. Now another attack this boss will do is he will raise his right wing and then do a spin attack. And notice how his eyes do not glow when he does this. See that right there? We got to make sure that you're ready to block it. His eyes will glow when he does the bite or the swipe, just like that. So just be very mindful of his body movements while he goes through those animations. So sometimes this boss will rear up on its hind legs just like this, and then meteors will start to crash down in front of it. I've seen some videos where these are just kind of like a straight line attack, but they will follow you just like that. So if you don't have a lot of stamina, you need to make sure that you keep running or they're going to catch up with you. Let me show you that again, but this time I'm going to take off with my fly hack and see how the meteors start to crash all over there. But then look, they just curve and come all the way over here. So you got to make sure that you keep moving until the attack is completely done, or they could potentially catch up to you and get you. So those are pretty much the 4 attacks that the boss has in kind of phase 1, the meteor shower, the bite, the swipe, and the spinning attack, right? When he hits about 75-80% or so, he will gain 3 more extra attacks. There is a frontal fire breath. There is like this fire circle where he will spit fire on the ground and it tries to like make a circle of fire around you. So you need to kind of keep moving so you don't get trapped inside of it. And then the third attack is where he will make a very large area of the battlefield glow green, and then a few moments later spikes come up. Those 3 attacks are what we're going to take a look at next. The first of these 3 attacks is the flame breath. He's going to rear his head backwards and then lean forward and breathe fire out of his mouth, just like this. It's pretty simple to deal with. You just sidestep it, no big deal. The next ability is going to be the ring of fire that he tries to put around you. Pay special close attention to his right claw. He's going to drag it on the ground a little bit, and that's going to activate the mechanic. So he kind of drags it just like that, and then a big circle of fire just captures you inside of that. You basically want to try to run away from this as it is going so that it doesn't make a complete circle and you can escape. Here's another example of that ring of fire, but this time I'm just going to step through the fire damage, and you'll see I only take 2, 6, 8, 10 fire damage. The burning dot does stack, so you just need to make sure that you just run through the fire line quickly, and it's no big deal. Now his final attack sucks, okay? You are going to probably die to this, okay? It's his spike attack that comes out of the ground. The animation for it is his left claw. He kind of swipes it just like he does with the right claw, but after he swipes it, he picks it up in the air and then kind of slams it down. And that's when all of the green damage will start to show up on the ground. See how he swipes, slams it, and then it's just this green circle, and it chases you. So if you keep moving, it will keep chasing after you. And it's these spikes that just pop up, and they do a ridiculous amount of damage. And the damage also stacks. So even on God mode, if I were to stand in that, the burning dot will ramp up to around like 3,000 damage per tick. It's basically an insta-kill if you get caught in it. And just for fun, check this out. I have 142 armor, which is the max I can get with the Flametal set. And I've got 320 health. 325 is the max you can get with the best food. Check out how much damage this claw damage does if I just stand here in it. So it starts at 5, 29, 69, 121. Look at my health. It's gone. My health is completely gone. Now watch what happens when I come out of this. My armor is completely destroyed. That one attack ripped apart my armor and just drained my health to 0. That is how serious that attack is. So when he does the swipe on his left claw and slams it down, basically that means run. So around 40% or so, he's going to rear his head back and spit out a bunch of little tiny green fireballs. And when they hit the ground, they turn into charred warriors, charred marksmen, things like that. But let me tell you a little bonus trick on this. You remember that ring of fire ability and that spike ability we just talked about? Take a look at this. You can use the mechanics to kill these guys. He's going to spawn the spikes right here. And I'm just going to kind of kite them through this a little bit. And see how they're taking damage and they all just explode. That one right there is going to die. See, so you can use his mechanics to kill these ads so you don't have to worry about them too much. The trick is that once they spawn, you got to kind of try to ball them up a little bit and get rid of them and kind of stay alive while this is happening. So just a little bonus strategy tip for you there. I've also seen those spikes take out a couple Morgans before. So if you're clever enough and lucky enough, if monsters come in from outside the arena, you can use his mechanics to take them out as well. That about takes care of all of his mechanics. Now let's check out what kind of damage we're going to take. I've got the Embers set here, rank 3 with 72 armor, and see what his melee attacks do to me. Got a 103 on a swipe. His bite is 128. And his spin attack is 59. Next, let's check out the Ask set. The swipe does a 92. His spin attack does a 43. And his bite does 100. And the Ask set is going to give you 99 armor on that one. Next, we'll check out the Flametal set, which is 142 armor, which is pretty much the highest you can get in the game right now. And he's going to give us a 71 bite. A swipe is going to be 64. And his spin attack is going to be 30. So not too bad on the Flametal set if you're going melee. And then we'll also check out what it's like to have Bone Mass with the Flametal set. So the spin is 7. Pretty nice there. And the swipe is 13. And his bite is 19. So having Bone Mass up with a metal set really helps with that damage intake. Next, we're going to take a look at the different fire damage that he does. So this is the meteor attack, and you can block this a little bit. See, I'm only taking like 0.3 damage, so a little strategy there for you. But it does about 10, 12, 15 damage, and it does spike. This is the Ring of Fire that we talked about earlier. Just run through it. It does a little bit of damage, and the dot does stack. And then this is the spike damage. If you get caught in this, you're going to get absolutely wrecked. And then this is the damage from his frontal breath attack. It doesn't look like it does much damage. It leaves a little bit of a dot on the ground. I don't know if this is bugged. I'm recording this on the public test branch. So maybe Iron Gate needs to kind of fix his breath, but it didn't do any damage. So keep that in mind that, you know, might be different when it goes live. And lastly, we're going to test all the fire attacks with this fire resist potion that we have up. So the meteors are kind of melee damage a little bit since you can block them, but there you go, 7, 3 damage, 5 damage on the meteors, so not too bad with that fire resist potion up, but I do have the Flametal armor set on. These spikes, the damage does go down, but it still wrecks you. Like, oh yay, it's, you know, 30, 40, 60, 80, 100 damage instead of 2,000. But the max amount of health you can have is 300 anyway, so this is just going to wreck you still. So as far as the spikes, you might be able to get an extra hit or two before dying on that. Everything else, it just brings it down to where the damage is a little more manageable, since all the other fire attacks are not as bad as the spikes. So it's definitely helpful to have. I mean, what else are you going to drink, right? So definitely keep fire potions in mind. Oh, and I tested the poison resist potion, and it looked like it basically did nothing. So just stick with that fire resist potion, and even then, that's pretty much just for the burning damage. And as far as loot, he drops a trophy, of course, the Fader trophy. You can hang it up on a wall inside your home, or turn it in here at the stone, and you can use the buff to increase your carry weight by 300 and your movement speed by 10% for 5 minutes. And then he also drops 5 Fader relics, and these are basically the placeholder, and we will use these to make whatever device we need to create to enter the next patch, which is probably going to be the Frozen Lands up north. And that wraps up this guide for Fader, the final boss in Ashlands. If you've made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for your support. Make sure you share this video with all of your friends and bookmark it so that when you finally get to Fader in the Ashlands, you've got all this information ready to go for your first kill. If you feel like I deserve it, hit the like button down below, subscribe to the channel for more Valheim content, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.